Hello guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video I'm going to be showing you how to make this beautiful dress inspired by this Veekee James dress. I'm going to be showing you how to draft the pattern, how to sew it, the details, everything involved. This video is going to be a very detailed video, so definitely keep on watching. I hope you guys enjoy the video. So guys, right now we are going to be measuring our shoulder line. Our shoulder line is 8 inches. So we are going to go ahead and mark our armhole line, which will come down by 1 inches, and then mark 9 because our armhole measurement is 8 inches. So we are going to go ahead and mark our neckline. Neckline is 5 inches by 5.5. Here we're going to go ahead and place our vertical measurements. This is my bust line, which is 11 inches, my under bust 14 inches, my waistline 17 inches. So before we move on to the hip line, we are going to place our nipple to nipple measurement. So our nipple to nipple measurement is 4 inches. And for the darts, we are going to be taking 1/2 inch on both sides, because we are taking 1/2 inch on both sides because it's a stretchy fabric, so that's why we are taking 1/2 inch on both sides. So now we are going to move ahead to mark out the darts. To give that curved look that comes with the dress around the bust, we are going to be marking 1 inch above the under bust on both sides. Then you can freehandedly curve out your lines. You will see what I'm talking about. Right now we are going to be placing our vertical hip measurements, and then I'm going to go ahead and mark the lines so that it won't be confusing. So that's the hip line, the waistline, the under bust, and the bust line. So we are going to go ahead and place our horizontal body measurements. That way we can be able to concentrate on the darts, because you need the horizontal measurements in order to draft your darts. So I'm just going to go ahead and place those measurements. For the bust line, we have 10 inches for the bust line. The under bust is 8.5 inches. And the bust also is, the waist also is 8.5 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and add the darts allowance, which is the 1 inch we took on, the 1/2 inch we took on both sides. And then I'll add my sewing allowance, which is 1 inch. You can also add 5 inches for your sewing 0.5 inches for your sewing allowance instead of 1 inch, because it's a stretchy fabric. Whichever one is still going to work. To draft our dart on the lower part of the dress, we'll come to the hip line and measure 5 inches from your actual hip line measurement. My hip line is 11.5, and I added 1-inch allowance as usual. So on that 11.5 mark, I'm going to be marking 5 inches inwards, and then I'm going to trace that 5 inches to my nipple to nipple measurement. So you could use your ruler or curved line, freehand, whatever works best for you. Coming down to the lower part of the dress, I'm going to mark 10 inches and then add my 1-inch allowance. So on that 10.5 inches mark, I'm going to be marking 5.5 inches instead of the 5 inches I used on the hip line. So I'm just going to be marking my 5.5 inches, and I'm going to be tracing it up to the 5 inches I marked on the hip line. Going to rule out my body measurement. I'm just going to mark out my body measurements. So at this point I made a mistake, so ignore that line. I'll cancel it later in the video for you to see. So here I'm marking the correct hip measurements. So I'm just going to trace that to the lower part of the dress. So for this pattern, we are going to be using one pattern for both our back and front of the dress. So right here, I'm placing my back neckline measurement. So I just went down by 1 inch, and then I'm going to place the armhole measurement, and that's the difference. That's going to be the difference between the front pattern and the back pattern. Here on the armhole, we have 8 inches, so I'm just going to measure 4 inches, which is the midpoint, and then I'm going to be coming inwards by 0.5 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and use my ruler. Right now I'm covering out my front armhole, so I'm going to use my curved ruler and make that curved line. Then to mark out the back armhole, you're just going to the original armhole line, you're just going to curve it out. So right here, I already drafted out the back pattern. Don't forget to leave out your 1 inch zip allowance. So what we're going to do here, I'm going to transfer the dart lines. The dart lines are very important, so I'm just going to be transferring that out. So just watch what I'm doing so you can understand or know how to transfer your dart lines. So right here I already cut out the front pattern. So this is what the front pattern looks like. For the flare sleeve, I already placed my basic sleeve pattern on the fabric. So we are just going to go ahead and measure 8 inches. So I'm using 14.5 inches. So for 0.5 inches for sewing allowance, I'm just going to place 8 inches on the lower end of the sleeve, and then I'm just going to curve it out to give it that flared look. So I already marked my 8 inches. So we are going to be going up by 7 inches, 8 inches, whichever one works for you. I think I went by 7.5 inches. So I'm just marking that out so that I can use it as a guidance to flare out my sleeve. So that's what I'm doing right now. So this is what the front is looking like. I already joined the upper part and the lower part of the front pattern together, and it's looking really nice. It's coming together. And then I'll also show you what the back is also looking like. Right here I've gone ahead to join the back and the front together, and then off camera I also added the sleeve, and then we are going to move ahead to the applique part of the dress. So here I already added the applique on the front part of the dress, and I'm going to show you how to do that while I'm adding it on the sleeve part of the dress. This is they call it the cup rhinestone. I think that's what it's called. So I'm using it with glue gum. You could use your glue gun or E6000 or E600, whatever it's called, whichever one works best for you or whichever one you have. So we are going to go ahead and place the rhinestone on the sleeve. So I'm just going to go ahead and place the gum at the edge of the sleeve. What I did, I used my sewing lines as a guide to place my gum. So I'm just going to go ahead and just place the stone or the rhinestone, whatever it's called. I don't know what it's called. So just watch. It's really, really explanatory. Just watch what I'm doing. So guys, we have come to the end of this video. I hope you found this video very helpful. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.